What's going on, guys? This is Kendall. I'm here with EJ, and we're gonna have a video for you guys today talking about some speculation involving Avengers 4. Now, obviously, if you're watching this video, you've probably seen Avengers Infinity War, so there might be minor spoilers or major spoilers depending on what we talk about. Yeah. But for Avengers 4, a big storyline that isn't really being talked about is what will that movie be about? But not only what that movie will be about, but who will be in that movie. Right. And when you look at the IMDb page of Avengers 4, it's called an Untitled Avengers film because we don't know the title of the movie. But when you look at some of the cast members in that movie, there are some weird names in there. Now, one of the names in that cast list is Cassie Lang. And, I mean, Cassie Lang, obviously the daughter of Scott Lang, not impossible that she'll show up in that movie. Yeah. Just amongst some of the main characters, it seemed a little weird. But what was even more peculiar was that she was not being played by Abby Ryder Fortson, who plays her in Ant-Man, and is going to play her in Ant-Man and the Wasp, but rather Emma Furman, who has not played Cassie Lang at all. And Emma Furman is, I believe, 16 years old. Yeah. So that suggests that Cassie Lang, unless she had an incredible growth spurt from the time we saw her in Ant-Man, will be played by somebody completely different. It will be somewhat of a different character. But then also, when you look at the IMDb page, another character that shows up very high up on the list is Harley Keener. Now, if you don't remember, if that name sounds familiar, Harley Keener obviously showed up in Iron Man 3 and played a big role in that movie as a little kid. Now, the actor that played Harley Keener, Ty Simpkins, has grown up for the most part and looks like he could play the part of a 16-year-old, 17-year-old kid. Now, this news seems to suggest to me that the Young Avengers, or maybe not the Young Avengers, but that we may get a time travel element in Avengers 4. Because when you couple that with some of the set pictures that we've had of showing the Avengers in some of their gear from Avengers in 2011, it suggests that maybe there will be a time travel element. And if we're going in the past, there's also a chance that we might be going in the future for Avengers 4, EJ.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I'm not that excited about this idea of a Young Avengers, if that's where they're going. If it's just seeing these characters in the future for some reason, that's something I can understand. But a Young Avengers, that doesn't really excite me, honestly. For one, I feel like these aren't characters that we're that familiar with. It's not like in the case of Cassie Lang, she's been someone who has been, very much in the center of the Ant-Man movies. I mean, to be fair, there's another one. Maybe it would be different, but we don't know. I mean, in these movies, she's a very young child. So we don't really know much about her.
She is a vital character. She's
important to Scott, but she's not. But the person itself, she's not really a center of piece.
The way I look at that is that now, if you're Marvel, you have a blank canvas.
Sure.
You're not tied to any characterization of Cassie Lang. Now, a grown-up version of Cassie Lang could be whatever you want to turn her into. Same with Harley Keener to an extent. We have more characterization of him than we have of Cassie Lang, who's a little bit older. But he could end up being Iron Man for whatever time period we are, or a protege of Tony Stark, depending on what happens in Avengers 4. Another bit of scuttlebutt in this whole ordeal is that the actress Emma Furman posted a picture on Instagram where she's sipping a cup from a cup with an Avengers logo on it, and the caption is an emoji that's shushing. So it makes it seem as if she's not allowed to speak on something, and it's tied to the Avengers somehow. So
I just feel like with the strength of the Infinity War movie was how personal we felt about the characters and how dire the straits were. So the scale was large, the danger was large. So when people were in tough situations, you really were on the edge of the seat because of the personal nature of those characters. If we're talking about, and this is a mild spoiler, or a major spoiler, if you're watching it. So if you're not watching it, maybe if you haven't watched the movie, maybe you shouldn't watch this video yet. But when you consider some of these characters are off the board, that we care about deeply, will I care about these new Young Avengers the way I cared about some of the characters that were in this movie that ended up being crossed off the board by the time the movie was over. I wonder if that's going to take a little bit of legs away from the dire straits and the danger of the movie. In that, will these just be 5 or 6 expendable characters that I really don't care that much about? Because if I've seen them, I've only seen them for the most. If you're talking about the kid from Iron Man, maybe 15, 20 minutes. Cassie Lang probably has a total of 5 minutes of screen time.
Right.
You know, like, and then who else are we talking about? I mean, what other characters are we adding into this Young Avengers team? And I don't know if I just want a team of kids, or a bunch of
Well, that's the one thing Marvel hasn't done.
a bunch of heroes kids rather, instead of kids, but heroes kids.
We haven't had a Teen Titans in this MCU.
Sure.
We haven't had that teenage group. We really haven't had that in all of comics. We haven't had a live action Teen Titans movie.
Yeah.
And this could be their way of introducing that.
Yeah, I mean, part of me wonders. I mean, when you hear about this, part of me wonders, is this a new franchise that they're going with for the new phase? I mean, it'd be extremely bold to introduce them into the biggest Marvel movie they've ever done. But when you think about it, I mean, what better way to grab people's attention to a new franchise you want to launch if you're really trying to do Young Avengers than to put them in the most important Avengers movie that's been out? For me, it's not that I'm against the Young Avengers as an idea, though I'm a little against making this young kid Iron Man. That's what we're talking about. But I'm more concerned about putting them into this movie. It just seems like this is something that's being shoehorned in, when I think this movie definitely feels like it should be a more personal tale of the reuniting of some of the OG Avengers. I don't know if I need the distraction of the Young Avengers coming in. Now, that, of course, depends on if these are major characters. I mean, they're just a cameo. That's a little different. Then they're a cameo, then what's the point?
Yeah, the way it looks on the cast list makes me think that this is going to be that they're going to play a major role. And it may not be the most important characters, but just as much as they go into the past for whatever reason, they will also be going into the future. And if they do, and if Harley Keener and Cassie Lang and whoever else we see in the future, and to be fair, I say we're going into the future. It also could be a time skip, which is another thing.
Possible as well.
That's possible, because how the heck is Iron Man going to get back to Earth so quickly? We don't really know. Because he's on Thanos' ship, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, he's lost.
He's on Titan.
Yeah, I mean, he's missing.
Exactly.
So who knows? I mean, I don't know how he's going to get back.
Yeah, exactly. We don't even know that. So it might take 5 years.
And their ship crashed. So, yeah, they're stuck.
There are a lot of loose ends to tie with this movie. But I feel like this could be the start of a new franchise, like you said, in the MCU. And something that's totally different from what we've seen in all the other Marvel movies. Now, also you have Spider-Man, who's also a younger character, and this also could play with the Ultimate Spider-Man television series that we had, him being the leader of a group of young Avengers sort of type of thing going on.
Now, the idea of time travel is something that I'm not opposed to. I think that could be really cool. However, the comic book nerd, superhero nerd in me can't help but feel like this is a story that belongs to Kang the Conqueror. And if that is where they're going to go, it could be fantastic. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't do it. But just the idea that someone who is an Avengers villain who's so tied to time travel, how many awesome things you could have done with that. I hope if that's how they go, that it's unfortunate that we didn't get that story with Kang. Because then what is he good for? If you're going to do time travel in this movie, I know they're getting Kang once this Fox Disney deal gets.
Is he a Fox character?
He's a Fox right now. Technically, he's a Fantastic Four character, so they can't use him. But if you're going to get him in a year or two, it feels like, I don't know, I feel like it may be wasted to do time travel for a story involving Thanos. But it doesn't mean it still can't be fantastic. It just feels like, I don't know if we'll ever see Kang if we're going to be doing time travel in this next movie.
The way these things shake out, I mean, they're getting so much from Fox that, like, if you're saying, they may want to use Kang, but a lot of people have Galactus first on the wish list.
Yeah, it's true.
And if you're going to do Galactus as your ultimate villain, I mean, you can still use Kang, but, like, that may be overkill. You can go for them. So that may be where they're just like, maybe we cross him out, or we nerf him and we dumb him down a little bit.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think this could also be a very interesting story that they tell.
Absolutely.
But that's our video for today, guys. You can like this video if you enjoyed it. And you should subscribe to New Generation Media for more content on both Avengers 4 and other videos in the superhero universe. But I'm Kendall. For EJ, we're signing out. So peace, guys.
Peace.